Hi, everyone. Welcome to the TimingResearch.com crowd forecast news for April 10th, 2023. We are recording this at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and this is episode number 383. My name is David Kosmeter. I'm the creator of TimingResearch.com, and today I have arranged for Sunny Harris and Michael Filighera to join us again as today's guests. And the option professor is back to moderate. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to him.
Okay, thanks, David. And thanks everybody for being here on a Monday morning. We got a big week ahead. I think we got CPI Wednesday and earnings at the end of the week. And then of course, after that, we'll have the Fed coming soon. So let's see what's going on. But before we do it, let's talk to our guests here and have them introduce ourselves right now. Michael Filighera is going to introduce himself and tell us a little bit about your company.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Michael Filighera. I am the proprietor trader analyst with TradersHelpingTraders.com and LogicalSignals.com. What I am doing right now is I do have a trade room, an existing trade room. We are expanding that trade room, and we will be presenting what I'm terming as more institutional-like information. So in other words, it's information that's going to be that the institutions trade on. So hopefully we're going to try to be bringing up a lot of people that are wondering, how do I get along with all these guys? So that's going to be coming, but I also do daily updates and podcasts that are published on YouTube.
Okay, great. And Sunny Harris, you've got your Sunny bands and everything else, but a quick background on yourself and what's going on at Money Mentor.
Thank you, Jim. I am a mathematician, trader, programmer, and author. I've been a professional trader for 42 years now. I love to mentor, tutor, and consult. I'm an easy language programmer. I do custom programming. I'm the author of 6 best-selling trading books, and I'm almost done with my 7th finally. Every Sunday night, I publish a newsletter called Sunny Side of the Street. And on Tuesday mornings at 7 a.m. California time, I do a live trading room. And I love to teach people how to trade.
Great. And you'll explain how to get a hold of you at the end of the broadcast, but let's get into what's going on Monday morning. We always have the question of the day, which is the market opened on SPX at 4084. Where do we think the market will end on Friday? Michael, you start off and let us know what you think and what's your confidence level.
It's always the beginning question, and believe it or not, folks, it truly is the hardest question. There are so many factors and there's so much going on. My own personal feeling is that by Friday, we likely will be still hovering around pretty much where we are, because right now, as far as I can tell, on 4100 appears to be like the rock, the magnet, and the stick in the mud all in one. So I basically think right about where we are is where I think we end up on Friday, if not a little bit higher. And
so from 4084, you think it might be a little higher than that, because we're a little higher than that now, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking 4096 to 4100. Yeah, so no, higher.
Yeah, 4084 is your starting point. So if you're bullish, you got a 12 point bonus.
And yeah.
And you may need it, and you may need it. Who knows?
You're right. And I'm not so sure that I am bullish. Yeah. I believe that the market still has additional upside to do before Humpty Dumpty falls off the wall and the rest of that story happens. But again, as you mentioned, just as we were coming on, and that we have CPI, we have on Wednesday, we have PPI on Thursday, along with the jobless claims. And so, and then 0 DTE option expirations. We have an options expiration in the SPX and the ES and a lot of other indices, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And I'll talk more about that in our next little segment.
All right, Sunny, how you feeling about 4084? Up, down, sideways? How confident?
Well, I felt pretty good about it until I heard Michael talk. I I'm thinking we're going to go higher. We've got a linear regression channel on price on the daily chart right now,
Right.
and price is trying to get above it. It's
Right.
also touching the top band of the sunny bands.
Right.
I've got gold on the histogram and gold on the who's on top, and I think we're going higher. I'm on never more than 50-50
Right. Yeah. Because in this world, it can happen, change very quickly here.
within seconds.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about indicators. Michael, what kind of indicators are you looking at? And you want to share your screen and elucidate that? That would be good.
Sure, I can share my screen. And let me
So
go
to throw a
there.
25-cent
should be
word
able to
out
get on
there.
And you should be able to see my screen now. There it comes. This again is the ES. Let me show you what a very interesting pattern in the SPX also exists in the ES. And for this, I'm going to go out to the daily chart. Notice this big triangle.
Mm-hmm.
And here we sit. I mean, if I counted out correctly, and on an Elliott basis, so it's an Elliott triangle. When here is a primary degree back at the June lows, Jim, which I can either do it from the June or the October lows and get the same triangle pattern. So here, using the June lows, I have an A, B, C, D. We're inside the E. All we need to do is to get ourselves back up to, and this is basis the SPX, 4150. That's the top of the channel line.
That's a good
And if
number
this-
too.
And if it completes there,
Yeah.
look out below.
Yeah. Because that's a good number for resistance.
Not only a good number for resistance, but I've
4150.
actually got additional resistance right above via the SPX
Yeah.
at 4160.
Yeah. Ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
but anyway.
that's a region. If we got through that, that would be a.
Oh, then we're going to
that would be-
4200.
Yeah, that'd be a substantial breakout. And if we
Right.
don't, then if that's the E, what happens after E? Go A, B, C down?
No, it'll be no, we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because the primary thing is down.
Yeah, the primary B wave would be up here wherever this finishes. And then it's a big primary C wave down. And my thought has always been and remains, should that occur?
Uh-huh.
So, and when the triangle's complete, if this indeed is the pattern,
Yeah.
then what that triangle is suggesting is that it's going to thrust out of the triangle. And so right now, the width of the triangle from current levels, it brings us down below 3875. And I would expect that to happen pretty dang quick.
Right.
That's the thrusting part. So, and again, I'm thinking what happens then, or what can produce that? It's like there are a lot of things sitting out there at hotspots geopolitically, hotspots economically,
Oh, yeah.
hotspots banking sector, et cetera, that one of them can trigger it.
Well, the world
So-
is definitely moving away from the dollar because even the guy in France is out there talking about how he wants to remain flexible with his ability to deal with China and Russia and everybody else.
Right,
And so
right.
I think China and Russia and Iran and the other producers, Saudi Arabia, have spooked the Europeans into thinking they better play ball with them.
Right.
And Macron forgot that they'd be talking German if it wasn't for us. So
Right.
first it was, trusting those guys, and then now they're trusting another group that might be just as salty. Huh? Okay, well, anyway,
That's so true.
that's what it looks like's going on. And then what about Sonny? How are you seeing things? You want to share your screen and get a little bit of an update?
Oh,
That's
sure, I'd
very
love-
good, Michael. I mean, you got a region there of resistance, and
Yeah.
the consequence of it rolling over is going to be somewhat substantial because a 5 wave down is not going to be a 1-day drop.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
So in other words, if we cannot take out, I'm just paraphrasing for you, tell me if I'm wrong. If we can't take out 4150, 4160, and we go into a 5 wave down, you better have a seatbelt on because that's going to be a reasonably good sized drop, right?
Stated, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And then believe me, that's good information to think about. Okay. What do you think, Sonny, as far as what are you seeing?
Well, I've got a Fibonacci set of lines from this high to low here back there. We've got a nice retracement line that goes up here to just above 4,200,
Right.
which is where I think we're going.
Yeah.
We've got a linear regression channel right here on these prices.
Right.
The center of the linear regression line itself is right on current price, which is why we're stumbling around right there.
Right.
And I do think we're going to go on up to this line.
Now the 4158, you have a green line there, so there must be some significance to, yeah. So that same area Michael was talking about, you do have
Yeah. That's the upper sunny band.
So if it's
upper
not
outer
going to
sunny
go
band.
to, if it's not going to be able to reach your upper targets, that would be a place where it could stop.
It could stop, but my guess is, and Larry Williams says we're all guessing. We have a 50-50 chance of being right or wrong.
Yeah, you're right. Right. Yeah.
So my guess is that we're going to here.
Yeah. And obviously there is a lot of lines that are under the market and pointing up. So there is some upside bias,
We've got, look here, we've had green.
Yeah.
So we've got a sunny band SPY signal right back here.
Yeah.
And it went from green to gold, which is stronger.
Right.
On who's on top, we've got gold dots down here on the bottom.
Right. And gold above purple is a positive.
Gold is above purple. That's bullish.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. And the position,
it doesn't normally just turn straight around.
Yeah. And the positioning and the sentiment still would be favorable to the bulls, because of the recession talk and all the rest of it. So if earnings come in not terrible, then that would be your catalyst to take out the 4160 and open up the door to the higher level.
If we keep talking all this recession talk, we're not going to have one.
Yeah, right. Well, you certainly aren't going to have one with unemployment going down to 3.5%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's I've been around long enough to know that during recessions they don't increase employees.
Not normally.
Yeah, you're not adding 236,000 jobs right before the 1982 or the 1990 or the other recessions that we've had. 2008, they weren't adding people. So okay, so that's it. And anything else that you see out there? That's the sunny bands, which is your proprietary thing. So everyone who's listening, this is the kind of stuff she can provide for you if you contact her and let her go through this for you. And you can see there is there's some real good merit to it, I think, too.
I ask everybody to just give me a call. I'm at 760-908-3070.
Yeah. And
give me a call. We'll talk about it. I love to chat with traders.
Yeah. What about a couple of let's go over to Michael and a couple of specific stocks, and we'll roll back over to you, Sonny. So you want to share your screen, Michael, and let's talk about a stock that I noticed that might be extremely good value, I thought. So I was I did some things about it. Schwab, SCHW. In my work, it went down to the 45 area, which I had a big moving average down there. And although the market hasn't been doing very well, that's stock used to be at 95. You're picking it up at 45, 48. I thought that was a pretty reasonable time to take a shot. What do you think? I mean, it's very oversold. Obviously, there's a reversion to the mean possibility. And
it is oversold, and off of that 96 high or that 95 high.
Yeah,
I can basically fairly complete, maybe needs one more drop below. Oh, I hate to say it,
even below 45. Yeah, because I was
just
thinking
one. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be big. But if we're counting it down, if this is an A and a B, and we're looking for that C wave to finish this pullback / correction,
yeah.
This is a weekly chart, folks, so it takes a little bit longer.
Right.
And you're looking for 1, 2, 3, 4 who are already starting back down. They get hung up on themselves. But again, it depends on which chart you're using. If you're using a candlestick chart, it's going to show the extreme. If I'm using here, it's not quite as bad. You see 1, 2, 3, 4. So we don't have that long extreme. And basically, I'm looking for it to get below 49, not 45.
Right.
So depends on what you're using to really put together your picture.
The one that I had was I did a 20-year graph that it showed up on as being hitting a big support at 45, 48.
That was a 3-year. I can put up my I do have a
There you
20
go.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
But again, it's the same
moving,
picture.
The moving average I was looking at is 120 month, which is a 10-year.
Okay.
So I don't know.
I don't use one that big. I got my
Yeah.
200-day, and that's as far
Well,
as
it's amazing. When we hit the drop of 2020 down at 2174 in the S&P, that
Yeah.
was the 10-year moving average. And this Schwab thing around 45, 48, that is the 10-year moving average.
Right.
So you know, a lot of
I
times when
use
things
I
like
use I don't necessarily use the moving averages, but I use similar.
yeah.
And a lot of that I can devise by using Fibonacci. But in that big picture that you're talking about, and
Yeah.
particularly with the SPX,
Yeah.
I am connecting the 1932 low to the 20. Well, that's even a little bit different. I took it off to the 2022 high. And in that level, 382, which is a very normal level for a pullback, but I'm pulling that support comes in at 2980.
It
in
is
the
on
SPX.
S&P. Yeah. We'll see. Like I say, on my 20-year graph, the 10-year moving average comes in right around 3,000. So it's right in the same
So
neighborhood.
we're coming up with the same answer,
Yeah.
slightly different technique
Yeah.
or indicator that we
Yeah.
use. But both are very viable and both work. And I think folks to understand, this is when everything kinds of seem to roll and fit together. Jim and I are not really speaking a different language. You're just using a different method to get there.
Yeah. But it's just like you were using the 4160 area, and Sunny did have one of her bands right at that number. So
Right.
some of these things do coincide, which is nice to see.
They do.
On Schwab, I think we're going lower.
Well, like I say, it very well could, but it's having a nice bounce. And if you bought it at 45 and you put your stop in at 49, you're pretty okay, because you're going to come out with a few bucks, or it's going to keep going.
Right.
It's all
You know,
according
it's
where
at
you
the
get on.
bottom.
Like I say, if you buy something after something's already happened, it's obviously more risky, right?
Yeah.
If something hits a resistance
show-
zone and then you sell after it's dropped, or if something hits a support zone and then it goes up and you start buying after it's done that, you're obviously not getting in at the same price, right?
Yeah. It's at the lower outer sunny band right now.
Yeah.
And
Show that, Sonny.
I think we've got a little lower to go, like 40,
Yeah, there's no question that
49 again.
Yeah, there's no question that the momentum is still down. It just looked like, from what I was looking at, that the 45 number could be the at least temporary calling off the dogs. And with a pretty lousy tape and it up $6 off of that number, so far it looks all right. What about NVIDIA? I mean, there must be a lot of people wondering if NVIDIA is going to come up for air, because the darn thing obviously has had such a big run. I mean, it's gone from $140 up to 280. That's 100% increase in the stock, in really weeks. A couple.
Well, it got a
8
little
weeks.
tidbit of good news today.
I mean, it's getting nothing but good news. That's how it doubled. The point is how
Well,
much is factored into this price already, and is there any divergences or anything happening up here that would indicate exhaustion?
I think most of it's already into the price, and what they're pushing against is some very, very high levels. So in terms of where, if again, this is NVIDIA, and it's a daily chart, and I'm projecting what this particular wave could be, even if I'm counting this as 1, 2, and this is the third, we're reaching the outer limits of it.
Yeah.
And we should have a larger pullback. And if that pullback occurs, we're coming down into here, even maybe filling the gap.
Yeah.
And we had an earnings gap there.
It just filled a gap today because it had gapped down towards the low 260s. And
You're right, I see that. Very small, but there it is.
Yep.
Yeah. What they're going on this today now, NVIDIA is more gaming.
Yeah.
And
Also
and
this chat GPT too. Yeah.
Right. They have some there. But today the news was that that's why we're seeing the jump in AMD and Micron and NVIDIA and all the chip guys, because of this decline that we're seeing out of Taiwan semiconductor. There was some really negative news coming out of there, and that just kind of shifted, and everybody came right over here.
And I guess the idea is if Taiwan semi loses its business, it'll go someplace and these other guys will benefit.
I think that might be correct. Now, whether it is or not, I think a lot of it is all speculative anyway, right?
Yeah.
But that's what's kind of pumping it up today. Now, whether it lasts or they turn and start to bring it back down again, yet to be seen.
But Taiwan Semi is also building a bunch of factories here in the US too. So that's interesting.
Well, then that tells you why China was doing their military exercises and
Yeah.
pushing their warplanes towards Taiwan.
How about the other
Right.
big guys? Let's look at the other big guys. Microsoft's had a huge run up as well. And is that game set match on this one yet or no?
It actually could be. I think they've always wanted to try to get to 300.
Yeah.
But if I take this out to the weekly, yeah, we've got that high at 350. But that is appearing to be like 5 down, and this is appearing to me to be 3 up. So maybe one more little drop, holding like above 280, 275-ish, and then getting right up again and getting above that 292. So we're talking 295, 300, and then we do another 5 down. So no, I don't think that they're definitively out of the woods. I think this is a lot of people getting into because Microsoft in absentia, I think, has purchased ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Because of their multi-billion-dollar investment into that company.
Right.
So I do think that artificial intelligence is going to develop into its own sector, and it's going to be extremely lucrative as new developments happen and things get perfected and make it more acceptable to people, not so questionable, not so like, I don't want to give artificial intelligence that much power in my life. We may have no choice. And then I think people getting into it now is just because they don't know where else to put their money. That seems to be the stock du jour.
Right. Yeah, the automation thing is really hitting everything. I was in the airport and they have kiosks now where you go grab your food on your own and pay through a machine. And the Circle K lost a couple of registers where I go get gas. And I said, what's that? And they said they're bringing in automatic pay. So the world is trying to eliminate as many employees as possible. There's no doubt about it. Anything you can do with artificial intelligence to do that is going to be popular.
Let me just I'll share with you. I don't know if any of you use Skype, but Microsoft has introduced Bing AI on Skype.
Huh.
All you need to do is ask me a question. So I did ask some questions, and it reflected back what it could find information on. And actually, the question I was asking at the time was, what are the ramifications of the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas's latest banking condition survey? And the only thing it could tell me is like, well, what you could find there, but not what the latest report was actually signaling, if anything. So I thought, okay, it works, but not in depth yet.
Right. Let's look at a couple of other the fangers. Let's look at Google and Amazon. Those have had big drops. Does any evidence that those drops are absolutely done, or what do you think?
No, not in Google. Same deal. These are 3 waves, 3 waves, 3 waves. Corrective. That's 5. We got another downswing. And it actually, for me, Jim, I want to go over and give Sunny Bands a chance to.
Yeah, I'm going to throw the same stocks at her.
So, but I just think that's like, even market-wise, we need additional decline. The whole pattern is not complete. They keep talking it up. They keep avoiding letting it happen, but I don't think it's going to work, because I think whatever is going to drive the market substantially lower will be a surprise, will be a shock. We'll be like, we weren't expecting that. And then we'll get our move.
Right.
So the other one was Amazon?
Amazon, AMZN. Yep. And then we'll
that's even a bigger 3 wave. It may get up. I see right now they had that spike.
Yeah.
So if these are weekly charts, folks. These are much longer term. On a line chart, it's already done. See, ABC done. Maybe a little bit high, a little bit coming up. I doubt it can get up to this channel. So yeah. And again, they're doing it on AI, artificial intelligence, and
Yeah.
developments thereof. And Amazon, of course, has their big moneymaker, believe it or not, is not necessarily the warehouses that are giving us our goods every second of every day, but it's the web services.
Right.
So let me stop my share and Sunny can get her share up there.
Yeah, Sonny, let's take a look at a few things. Let's start out with that Schwab idea that it might have hit a low at 45.
What was the symbol again?
SCHW.
Yes, this
There's
is
got to be a better
weekly
buy
chart.
at 45 than it was at 95. I can at least say that with confidence, right?
Yeah, I don't believe in buying in bottom fishing though.
Yeah. Well, I
And-
like I say, I have indicators that are indicating that yours are not exactly what I'm using. Yeah.
Why
In other
not?
words, I've no, I'm saying I've got a 10-year moving average on a 20-year chart, which is obviously not what you're looking at.
Do you have trade stations, Jim?
Well, I do, but I'm saying I do something different, you know.
I'll send you a copy of Sunny Bands.
Yeah. Anyway,
So this
yeah,
this looks to me like we've hit the upper band back here on this weekly chart. We've gone down sharply.
right.
We're down at the lower outer band. I don't
Right.
see any reason for it to go up at this point. The
Uh-huh.
purple down here on the histogram is just getting deeper and deeper.
Right. But you
It's
would
likely
consider
to
that
go-
oversold down there, wouldn't you?
No, I wouldn't.
Oh, really? The purple, when it gets down to minus 282, is not an oversold indicator?
Not necessarily. Let's
Because
look at
I
the
don't see any other
attractor.
time. I don't see
Right
any other
there's the
time.
attractor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, like I say, if we go into a recession and the Dow goes down and the S&P goes down to 3,000, then there's no doubt, I'm sure, that you probably have a good chance of breaking the bottom and turning this thing into a real nightmare for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Also, the thing to consider, it's like, don't forget, Schwab bought TD Ameritrade.
No, they got a lot of stuff, and a lot of
They
stuff
bought
could
a
go
bank.
wrong. A lot of stuff could go wrong. I mean, if you go to 3,000 on the S&P, a lot of things are going wrong. And if that's the case, then obviously these firms that they've been accumulating have risks to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sizable.
Yeah. So anyway, you know, there's no question about that. But it's nice to get a little bounce out of there and, you know, grab whatever you can. What about these
Google?
other big guys? We were talking about NVIDIA. NVDA.
Yeah. That's just going up. Right here's a flat DMA.
Yeah.
That's an attractor right there. With
Right.
that flat DMA. That's acting as support today or this
Right.
week. I still think we've got room to go up to here.
So 300.
301.5.
Yeah.
300. Yeah.
And a break under 260 would probably be the beginning of a correction.
Yep. At the
Yeah, so-
very least, down to the DMA, the gold and purple lines.
Yep. That's 50
which is
bucks, 40 bucks.
238. Yeah. So at
Yeah,
the very
40 bucks.
least, it will go to there.
Yeah.
But I don't see anything right. I've got no information right now. It's at the top line. It doesn't tell me whether it's going up or down. But the histogram, see these two red bars
Uh-huh.
on the histogram? This is telling me to watch out. Could go down easily.
What about Meta, META? That's gone through the roof.
Yeah, it sure has. And we're
Running
looking
into
at,
little
there's
problems
the
around
flat DMA
215.
right there. I'm looking at 237
Okay.
And that's based on what, Sonny?
on the sunny bands and so I call these things attractors. Right here's a flat DMA. So
I
right
got
back
you.
here is flat, so that's an attractor telling me that price has this that it needs to test. It needs to go up there and see if it can make it higher or not. And I kind of doubt it will at that point, but it needs to go up there.
I got you.
And
And
again, like Michael says, markets don't go straight up or straight down.
Yeah.
So it can gyrate around quite a bit to get up there, but it needs to test that level.
It looks a lot like your idea on the S&P in that if we can't get through 4150 and this thing can't get through 2020
250.
or 2015, whatever,
Yeah.
it won't get to those higher levels. So that's,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
sometimes it's better to buy something at 225 on its way to 250 than to buy it at 214 and find out it's not going to go to 250.
Exactly.
Exactly.
What about Microsoft? MSFT?
And we're right at an attractor right now. It's gonna stumble around trying to see if it can go above that or not. We just got one bar on the gold on the histogram. The
Mhm.
gold just crossed over on top of purple, so it looks like we're going up. Probably to here. What is that, 320?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about Apple?
And again, these are weekly charts, so it takes longer for these things to happen.
Yeah, right.
Apple's gonna go to 174. I think we've
All
got,
of it is pretty much required to get above that top green line.
yeah,
They actually had some
Yeah.
bad news today in Apple.
did they?
Yeah.
What
And
was
that,
it?
of course,
Do you know?
their sales, their first quarter sales of iPhones and all of their products is dropped by 40-something%.
Mm,
Yeah, well, when they are laying off of people in their stores, it's not because there's a line wrapped around the building anymore, right?
right.
Didn't they lay off quite a number of people from their stores?
I don't remember reading that, but I would agree with the statement.
Yeah, no, they did. They laid off people from their stores. I went into
Yeah.
one of their stores and everyone's like roaming around, and I felt like I was at a let's just say a very evolved persons convention, you know. Okay, so anyway, there's Apple. What about the Google? Googl.
Yeah, that one's sad.
I went sad.
It's sad. I love Google and it just keeps going down. But we've got green down here getting shorter and shorter on the histogram. It's trying to cross over to gold, so it's going to try for this upper band at 116.
Uh-huh.
So that's not a whole lot to go up, but you know, a week's worth, maybe two.
Yeah.
It's going to test that level.
I think that they're dealing also with news and this and that and all these other talk and stuff. But I think the thing about Google is they're suspiciously quiet. And that's usually when it's like, we know that they're still in the background. I know they're still doing artificial intelligence. They're pushing just as hard as everybody else. But I think, yes, they likely are going to correct. But I think between Google, Microsoft, all of these stocks, they will soar again. But what I've been always in the feeling of is that nothing within our investment world in terms of stocks will be able to, we're all expecting that they're going to survive any downturn. I'm not expecting the market to go to zero. I'm not expecting that we're going to drop into a depression, et cetera, et cetera. All things are still on the table, but I think we're just in a corrective phase. And what comes after the completion of this down leg is a kick your butt rally.
Yeah.
Whether it's the rally to new highs or not, because you can't tell, but I'm looking for that rally. And and I think the ones that are going to lead it are like what we're looking at: Google, Microsoft, Apple, and NVIDIA, et cetera. Tech will lead us back out because of the artificial intelligence.
Well, one of the sectors that people have been doing a lot of work on is energy. And so my belief is if we can't get above 83, 84 on crude, that's not a good sign for the bulls. Now, 64, 66 was a fantastic time to buy. I was all over that. But I can see that there is some problems getting through this. So let's put up crude and let's put up some of the oil ETFs and see if people are getting sucked into a sucker bet or what do they got going on here.
Am I still sharing? I am.
Yeah.
So I've got crude.
I'm going to have Michael go into it in a minute. Yeah.
And it looks like we've got a couple little bars trying to pass through the purple dynamic moving average right here.
Yeah.
EMA's flat. We've got all kinds of hesitation right here on the histogram.
Yeah.
So it's having a hard time.
So you see where I'm getting the
80.
you see where I'm getting the 83, 84 number. It's right where your lines are.
Right there.
Yeah.
It's right there. So it's trying to get through that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it will or not.
Yeah.
Didn't we have OPEC tell us that they were gonna
They said they're going to cut
supply?
some production, this and that, but we're going to get inventory reports and they're not going to lie. So we'll have to find out what the inventories will look like.
Yeah. This one could go either way easily.
Let's look at the ETFs. Start with XLE.
This one made it above the DMA, so.
Yeah.
That one looks like it's gonna go on up to 89, 89.90.
What stocks are in the XLE, Jim?
Oh, the two big ones are Chevron and Mobil. I mean, and Exxon Mobil.
Uh-huh.
So that's half the index or more, something like that.
Yeah, so we got a little room to go up on this.
Now let's go over to some of the more refinery kind of things on XOP.
Oh, we've got a nice triangle on this, but it's gonna try to make it up a little higher, 78.80, is that 76.83? So we've got a little room.
But
to go up.
yeah, there's resistance. Well, I guess on both of those charts, there is some resistance above, more on this than the other.
Yeah, so I mean, we've got this line that we're worried about right now.
Yeah. And you can draw a bottom one coming up too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You got both those. You got both of them going.
Mhm.
And then you got the servicers, Halliburton, Schlumberger, and OIH.
OIH.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah. It failed right here today
It
at
sure
the
did, didn't
DMA.
Yeah.
We've still got red going on the histogram. It's going to turn to purple and go on down.
Wow. Now that's opposite, but that you kind of can see in crude in the futures market. They're hesitating. They're not able to get it back above 84, 85.
Yeah.
No,
So you
If
gotta
this were
wait.
to get above the 282 area, though, it does open the door to some pretty good size upside, huh?
yeah,
Yes.
if it makes it above there, then we're gonna at least go to 320.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. But that's a
No,
big
nothing
if right
wrong with
now.
it, but it ain't doing it.
It's-
Yeah.
But see here, the histogram, we've got red,
Yeah.
red, getting shorter and shorter. It wants to go to purple.
All right, before I turn
gotta
over to
tell you.
Michael, I just want to give the metals to you, and let's
Oh,
just use the ETFs. GDX,
What's that one?
the gold stocks.
Yeah. I kind of think gold's gonna keep on going. Of course, I've got a
Well,
lot of gold, so I want it
No,
to,
but it's pointing up.
Well,
It's pointing
but
up.
it is pointing
But
up. Okay.
again, like a lot of these charts, your upside potential only really occurs if you can get through that green line.
Yeah,
And those green lines are pretty much holding a lot of markets back right now. So we'll have to see if
Yeah.
that green line will hold them back, or once it gets penetrated, if it's going to be, an
Well,
acceleration
it's
phase.
certainly trying. It's
Yeah.
certainly trying.
Yeah. What about SLV or SIL? SIL, I think, is the gold, silver stocks. There you go.
I don't watch
Same.
silver much, but we've got a line in the sand up here at 38.
Yeah. Well, it's getting above $25 spot. So if it can hold above $25 spot, it can open the door to 30.
Yeah,
But, rates are now going back up. The dollar's picking up a little steam. So the world is changing. What about those industrial metals, XME?
that wants to go down too.
Yeah. That's a
Wants to go
recession
down to the
problem, I
bottom,
guess.
45.
Yeah, this would include your copper and things that are used for industrial purposes.
Yeah. My catalytic converter's in danger.
Uh,
People are stealing those catalytic converters like crazy.
yeah. Well, in fact, here in Nevada, they have a big arrest thing with a big, group that were doing it collectively.
Yeah.
Michael, let's take over here. And why don't we start out with the spot price of oil and also the spot price of gasoline and the price of natural gas, and look at the actual futures price of the underlying.
okay. The first thing you wanted is
Crude.
crude.
Yep. We're going to go over the petroleum products. Yeah.
Okay. Just so happens I did my fibs on crude. Let me just even open that up more and then bring it down. It was on this great little downswing, and good old OPEC, like, no, we don't want it there. And boom, it was a sincerely strong gap. And now I think it's just, we're waiting. It's waiting again, like you had mentioned, Jim, we get, we get the numbers every week. We're going to see what really is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's
Are they
going to
really
have some
cutting or
bumps.
not, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that they will. I believe they're trying to squeeze a lot of things right now.
Like I say, that's if they can be trusted between each other,
Right. I hear
'Cause,
you on that one too.
When you
I-
cut, you don't get as much money coming in, right?
And fortunately, the one that's really spewing that we're going to cut, which is Saudi Arabia,
I don't think they're cutters.
it's like, are you really cutting, or
Yeah.
are you trading it for gold with, Russia? I
Or
don't know.
maybe they were just trying to scare the shorts, because at 64 or 66, there was a ton of people short the market. So if these
It's
guys come
true.
out with something to scare the shorts and get a short covering rally to 82, which they just did, and they're on the other
Yeah.
and they're on the other side of it. In other words, who knows if they're buying contracts at 64 and then they yell out, "We're cutting," to make all the shorts come up. You know what I mean?
Told everybody and build all those orders screaming higher. Yeah.
Exactly. What about
I was just going to say that on the weekly, we've got the weekly 50 EMA
Yeah.
at 82. So we 82 and a half actually.
Yeah, same neighborhood.
So you're going to have resistance there. Then I got additional resistance on a fib level.
Yeah.
At 85.66.
Yep.
It's got resistance all the way up, but it gaps a little bit because it's a weekly chart and the territory that we're marking to fill it out. But again, off of this high and including the extremes, I can get an A, B, and believe it or not, you can work this out to be a C wave.
Let's take a
Bless
look at
you.
natural gas, because that collapsed from 10 down to 2. And my feeling
did.
was that 2 area, well, look, it's like it's taking it out today, isn't it? Or where's it at today? No.
Oh, wow.
Actually a little bit higher. So the thing about natural gas is that people need to understand that the producers, the ones that are actually having to get this natural gas out to all of us in the winter months, they aren't buying it now. They already have everything has already been put together. So they're preparing in August. So we look at where the market's top. And then once we get into winter, we're all thinking it's been the cold winter, which we did. If you live here in the state of California, it's been the coldest it's been for a very long time. We've gotten more rain and snow than for many, 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 many years. So you would think that, at least I can see it because I've had to heat my own home, that we would get a rise. We did, but it's all been to the downside. So this to buy here might be a good call because we're kind of low. And like, you have to think, it's like, well, what's left after this?
Yeah.
But we have to understand that even if we take it out and we look at a monthly, well, you can go down to 143. So again, strong decline, even on that monthly. Let me open this up a little bit so we can see that. That was nothing more than 1, 2, 3. Now we got a 4, we still got a 5. So what's the possibility? It could. It
A
absolutely
little higher
could.
than that. Go up just a little bit, Michael.
Go
To the
up a little
bottom of the
bit.
candles.
Oh, you want
Right-
to go up to here?
Well, right up there. That's where we're going. Right there.
And is that based on your sunny bands?
No, that's just my attractors.
That's what I meant, the attractor.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 173. I mean, when you're talking in terms of 196 down to 173, but if you're actually trading the future, you can get killed. You can wipe out an account on that little tiny move. So I always urge caution, but I don't think that they're going to start stepping in to replenish supply for another couple of months. So it might just dwaddle down in here.
Well,
And go and make that additional.
something that I've been involved in for a long time is RRC. So put that up, and that is a natural gas oriented thing.
Wow.
And it's been a very good place to be. And
Well, and
it still looks like it's not a
what's
bad
it
place
based
to be.
on? If it's based on natural gas, what constitutes this
It's
index?
Range Resources. And so they're involved in natural gas. I don't know exactly what they're doing. I know their P ratio is 5.7, so you're not paying too much for this thing.
No.
But I mean, it's been a very good thing to own, obviously. And it doesn't look like it's over yet.
No, in fact, this all seems very corrective to me.
Yeah.
It's just dwindling around. You
Yeah.
can draw little trend lines here and you're going to see it's trading in between.
Yeah,
And
it's got the
maybe-
21 area seems like the area you definitely wanted to stay above, right? 21 area, yeah.
I have
Right now,
18,
it's trying to-
1821. Go ahead,
It's trying
Sonny.
to push through the DMA right now.
Yeah.
Yes,
Purple's on
Yeah.
top. It's working on that. It's got a couple of higher lows.
Yeah.
I think it's going to try to break through that area.
actually, and I'm going to stand in agreement with you. And here's why, Jim. I think if this is the correction, we got down to here, came down and tested those lows.
Yeah.
Even if this was the new low, we're now starting the next leg up. So we're sitting here. I'm not sure what they're waiting for, but as Sonny said, they are holding moving averages right here.
Yeah.
Cleanly holding. And we have, granted, it's just a small,
Yeah.
it's a weekly 4, but it is pointing higher. And if we have the others are flat, that's producing why it's not really moving anywhere. But I'm going to agree with Sonny that I think we at least get above 30.
What
And
about gas?
possibly-
What does gasoline look like? We're going to be going into the summer. Is there anything there? I thought there was a Fibonacci retracement. If you looked at the high point to the low point,
What is it? RB what?
RB, RB. There it
It
is.
is just RB.
RB, yeah, RB.
All right.
But yeah, because we had a high of around 440. And
But
then we had a
this is-
low of 40. I
this
think
is-
there was a low of 40. If you go back longer term, yeah, you see there's a low of 40. So I did $4.40 to 4.40 cents. And if you take 61% of that, you got around $2, which is exactly where we hit the low. So
Did, but that's on that one. But this does not look constructive in terms of it's going to break out.
yeah, but it was a nice trade buying it near 2. That's
Oh,
for sure.
here, definitely. Oh, I
yeah,
agree with you. It
yeah.
was very tradable.
Which is exactly why I did the Schwab thing. Schwab thing hit something like that too.
Yeah, I wouldn't. In fact, we can just throw some fibs this way. And you're looking at, okay, you got 290, 317-ish. And even if it got up to 618, which is pretty common, 340, 342.
That's what I thought it could go to.
I don't
Yeah.
disagree with you.
Yeah, that's a target. So 2 to 340 is certainly nothing to, stick your shake a stick.
And again, though, I think the state of California, we've kind of gotten through that period where they switch from the winter blend to the summer blend,
Right. That's another thing.
whatever all's entailed into that nonsense,
Right.
besides hiking up our prices.
Right.
Always.
The thing is like here in the state of California, I know it's taxes, but on top of that, we're hovering closer to $5 than we are to $4.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, let's hit a couple of quick
$5 where I
guys, let's hit a couple of quick questions and then we're going to switch over to gold. Jill T wants to know what platform you're using, and another attendee wanted to know why you're using the 55 EMA as opposed to the 50. So first thing is, what
Fibonacci
platform
number.
are you using?
I use the TOS platform, Thinkorswim platform.
Okay. And what about
I use the 55.
Yeah.
Very astute that they found that, because I just call it the 50. I use the 55 because I'm a Fibonacci expert.
I got you.
So my 4 is actually a 5. My 8 is a Fibonacci number, so it is an 8. The 20 is a 21, the 50 is a 55, and the 200 is a 200.
Could be
All right.
233. That's the next fib number.
Let's
True.
get that silver and gold up there, the actual price of this, and Michael, get a little figuring on where that's
Gold,
gonna take
this
you.
is the thing, and we talked about this last time that we were together, Jim.
Uh-huh.
Gold, excuse me again, gold does not appreciate a higher dollar. Gold soars when the dollar nosedives.
Right.
And so with today that the market in the dollar, it was up pretty strong. I mean, it's still up fairly strong, but it's coming off of its highs, at least for today. So what happened? They started to push higher and higher and higher. They slammed down on gold. The other thing you and I both know, gold traders, right? The old pit traders, which are probably scattered about the country, but still very involved with being a dealer in gold, that they snip it out. And there's algorithms that will go on stop hunts. I know that people don't like to hear that, but it's the truth. They do exist.
Sure.
They definitely do.
Not super active, but they do exist.
Yeah.
And the whole purpose is if somebody else is looking to buy, they send out an algorithm that's going to go scour for the sell stops, and they take it to those levels, and they're the buyer, and then they step back up to the plate and buy it all the way back up.
Yeah.
So I've seen that in gold today. So gold right now is continuing to hold itself above 2,000. And this is the futures market. So basis the cash, I think the cash did dip below 2,000 today.
Yeah, 1990.
So, you know, it's just a washout. And I think that it's nothing more than just a little bit of a corrective phase. And I would likely move this first wave and put it up here. And these are all my upside things, but I'd be looking for it to come back down. And to tell you the truth, the future can get back all the way to 1950, 1960.
Very
And
easily.
still turn. Because the other thing to remember is that we got central banks buying. And when they buy, they don't care. They come in, we're buying, and they just do it. And so when you add into that, should the dollar start to decline again, which you know, I think I even have a wave count that is suggesting that before it goes up and does what it's doing any greater, that it needs to probably drop back closer to par, which is 100.
Yeah, well, that's
I'm
a
looking
big
for the drop below
support zone
par
right
just
there,
yet.
right?
I think that's coming. And then that's really when gold will go through the blooming roof. But then they will have other factors that go with it that are going to propel it higher.
Well, the other thing I think for the gold people should know is that China is got a crude oil contract in Hong Kong and Shanghai, and they want all of these guys that they were in the picture with, Saudi Arabia, et cetera, to clear all those trades through that exchange. But then they want them to do it in yuan. Now, those people know very well they can't trust the yuan, so they're not going to take in yuan. So what they've done in China is they're setting up a conversion situation where you can convert your yuan into gold. In order to convert it into gold and have a lot of yuan out there, they're going to need a lot of gold. So that's where they're buying the gold,
Buy gold.
and they're producing a lot of gold because their longer term goal is that they're going to make the yuan compete with the dollar. But everyone knows that's not going to work unless there's something else. Now, converting it to gold may sound attractive, but if gold goes from 2,100 down to 1,800, you know, then that's another feature of risk to these people. So it's an interesting concept, you know, that they're going to try to convert it into gold and go back to the old school. But, you know, with gold at 2,000 or 3,000, wherever it's going to go to, it's a different ball game than $35 an ounce. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that
in other words, it's like, I wouldn't want to link it to natural gas prices. You know what I mean?
yes. And I think you're definitely onto something that people really need to understand is that what are the underlying forces behind buying gold? We already know that China, Russia, India, a lot of these central banks, including the United States, because as we've discussed before, you and I, Jim, is that the digitalization of our currencies.
Right.
And that's going to happen, whether we like it or whether we don't. It is already in progress and happening. And in fact, the yuan is digitalized.
Yeah.
So you're right about, gee, I don't really know if I want to deal in the yuan. What's backing it? And if it's nothing, I'm certainly not going to become a trading partner with you and use it. So again, what you're describing is how they're solving that problem.
Yeah, it's a big supportive thing on it. That's for sure. And it's
Yeah.
you know, there's a reason why there's such a good bid on it. But
Yeah,
we'll have to see how all that unfolds. But that seems like the
Absolutely.
direction. And then this guy from France is talking that way. So they're definitely getting some people to follow that theme.
I agree. I agree. And there's
the
so
way-
many
listen,
things that
listen,
can
frankly,
upset
the
the
way-
apple cart.
And frankly, the way Washington politics are now, you can almost you know, be compassionate for the fact that people might want to go elsewhere to do business because it's such a nonsense convention down there with two competing sides so angry at each other and all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, we're getting to the top of the hour, so I want to swing it over to Sunny real fast. Let her put her stuff up, and I'll come right back to you, Michael. Let's explain how people can get a hold of you, and let's explain what they're going to get when they do it. Sunny.
Well, let's see. You can get a hold of me real easily. Call my phone. I put it in the chat, 760-908-3070 in California. And I'm a mathematician, trader, author, and professional trader for 42 years. I love to help people become traders or become better traders. I get a call every day where somebody says, I lost all my money. How can you help me? And I love to do that. I do custom programming with easy language. And I have a Sunday night, sunny side of the street newsletter, a Tuesday morning live trading room, and of course, Sunny Bands. And if you want a free trial to Sunny Bands, just give me a call.
Sounds good. Michael, how do people get a hold of you and what are you offering?
Again, you can get a hold of me by sending me an email. Sonny is the one who loves the telephone and I do not. So I do accept emails and I always answer my emails. So again, it's Michael at mjf1partners.com. That's my email address. Please feel free. Or you can check me out on YouTube, and I'm under tradershelpingtraders.com. And you can pull up my YouTube channel. Again, it's under my name, and Traders Helping Traders and my name. And you can leave a comment. You can ask a question there, and anything you particularly care for. I am putting together an expanded trade room, and I'm doing that together with a very, very good friend of mine. Actually, was my first teacher in Elliott. His name is Dan Ascani. We're combining our talents, and so again, what we really are going to be presenting in the trade room is more institutional level, but very valuable information that affects the market on an intraday, hourly, minute basis. So if you have an interest in that, again, you can go to tradershelpingtraders.com and then go to the trade room tab, or you can go to logicalsignals.com and reach that same tab. Please leave me your interest via putting your email address on my list so that when it is a go, you're going to be the first to jump in.
Sounds good. All right, guys, thanks for being here. As far as optionprofessor.com is concerned, we do have the PDF reports that help you learn more about option trading as our vantage point. And we also have the 1 hour one-on-one online meeting with myself, where we go over things that you're doing, things that we think look good, our technical indicators, which help us figure out when things are going up or down. And again, I've been doing it for 40 years, so I certainly know a lot about all the markets. So go to optionprofessor.com and put your information in, and we'll explain how things work. And if it's for you, we'll proceed and go from there. Okay, it's top of the hour. So guys, thank you, Sonny. Thank you, Michael. We'll do this again, of course, because that's what we do. And I'm going to send it back to David right now.
And thank you, David, and thank you, Jim.
You bet.
All right. Yeah, thank you. Another great discussion today. So just a quick reminder for everyone, be sure to subscribe to Timing Research on YouTube, or on Substack, or on your favorite podcast app. And also you can just go to TimingResearch.com. There's a post at the top of the page right now that will become the archive for today's event as soon as I can get it ready. Also, you can access any of the past shows and events permanently on the Timing Research site. And then I just want to thank my guests again for today. Sonny Harris of moneymentor.com, Michael Filighera of logicalsignals.com and tradershelpingtraders.com, and the Option Professor of optionprofessor.com. Also, I want to mention real fast the next major Synergy Trader event that we have planned will be May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and that will be on the topic of psychology, discipline, and time management. And of course, Sonny and Michael and the Option Professor will all be doing presentations for that event. So be sure to mark your calendar. Again, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, psychology, discipline, and time management. So, and of course, anytime we're live with an event, you can just go to TimingResearch.com, and there's always a link or links all over the site to join the event. So be sure to join us for that. So that's it for today. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great one.